Greetings once again. It is the Spencer Kyte back here for SevereMMA, as promised in the Punch Drunk predictions. Back with the first round of So You Want to Make a Bet, my weekly, or I guess event-based betting show that I now, as I think of this, as I get ready to do this, I'm a little leery. I'm a little nervous. Shawnee Podcast has the Shawnee Podcast betting show over on SureDog. He does well with it. I see every week he's cashing tickets. And now here I am invited into his house, coming into his backyard and putting out a show myself. I'm not looking for fights. I'm not looking for rivalries. Sean is the boss. And so if he says, hey, no more betting shows, I'm the guy that does the betting shows, we will go away. But for now, we are here for UFC Vegas 62, Alexa Grasso versus Viviane Araujo. Before we get to all of the selections this week, a couple of things that I will say off the top of every show. I make these bets, I make these selections using pretend money. It is monopoly money. I am not out here betting hundreds and hundreds of dollars and hundreds of units. This is me putting stuff down on paper. I'm keeping track as I do with my predictions. We will get to that in a second. It has not been good, but this is play money for me. And when I do make bets, when I do make selections and wagers myself on the side, I do so responsibly. And I urge everyone watching this video, consuming this content, to please do the same. I will include, as I always have, links to problem gambling websites for Canada, the United States, Ireland, the United Kingdom, into the body of the post on the YouTube feed and the SevereMMA post of this video. Because if you or someone in your family does have an issue with this, please seek out help. I've grown up in this industry. I've grown up around sports gambling. I have seen the problems that it can cause. It is a very serious thing. It can get out of control very quickly. So please gamble responsibly. Please wager responsibly. Only bet what you can afford to lose. And if you are having trouble, if you do think this has become a problem or is a problem for you or someone you love, please seek help or seek help for them. I mentioned we will get to the how the year has gone thus far part of this, and here we go. So I started keeping track over on my now shuttered Substack newsletter, Keyboard Kimura, at the start of August. I had teased it earlier in the year and said, look, it's a space that is expanding. It's a space that I have experience with, and I've been sort of keeping track of behind the scenes, not putting stuff out publicly, just playing a little bit here and there, not really keeping track of things. And I decided I wanted to try. I decided I wanted to step forward into this arena. It hasn't been good so far. So there were a couple events in September that I missed because I went away on vacation, UFC 279, and then the Corey Sandhagen Song Yadong fight after that. So I don't have this is still a small sample size. But thus far this year, so since the start of August and understanding that I missed a couple cards in September, I've wagered 40.75 units. Those wagers have returned 31.19 units for a difference of negative 9.56 units for a return on investment of negative 23.46%. None of that is good, but it is also very instructive and indicative of how difficult this can be. To all the people that do this and do this well, and there are many out there, go follow them as well. Seek their advice as well. So far, they do so much better than I do. They will tell you that this is hard. This is a racket. This is a long-term thing. You're not going to come in and make a big splash, and if you do, more power to you, but it's hard to keep up, right? Everybody had fun this year with Yanni Corrales on Dana White's Contender Series, his run of bad beats, his run of bad bets. Nobody was out there saying too much when Yanni turned it around at the end of the year. So shouts to Yanni, shouts to everybody out there doing their thing. Dan Stupp for all of his guidance he's helped me with over the year. My guy Dan Tom, everybody at the Action Network, Ian Parker and Brett Okamoto on ESPN, loads of people, and Shoddy Podcasts over on Sherdog. Go check out the Sheehan Show, as you already are. I know it. So let's get into this. This is a card this week that I think it's interesting. It's a card where I've laid out the most units that I've spent thus far because I think there are some opportunities. Now, I've thought that going into every card with the selections that I've made. And so that also means that there's a chance that this one hurts more than any of them. But we'll go through it. I will give you my wagers, my selections, my explanations, how those things sort of add up. And we'll see if we can't cash some tickets on Saturday. So here we go. Main event, Alexa Grasso, Viviane Araujo. This is a fight that, excuse me, I want to put some stakes in because I think there's some opportunities to make some returns. So if you watch the Punch Drunk predictions, or you are going to watch the Punch Drunk predictions after this, I will spoil it and tell you that my main event selection is Alexa Grasso. And I think she's going to win a decision. And so my first wager here is half a unit on Alexa Grasso to win by decision. It is plus 130. I use the odds that I get from Bet365, which is an app that I use here in Canada. Your odds may vary, but for this purpose, for these purposes, for this exercise, it is my odds at Bet365. So Alexa Grasso by decision is plus 130. So for 0.5 units wagered, it returns 1.15 units, which would be a profit of 0.65 units. I think a decision is the likeliest of outcomes here. I like Grasso to win the fight. And so that to me feels like getting plus money for something that I think has a very strong likelihood of happening. As such, I've also laid out 1 unit on the main event to go over 3.5 rounds at minus 275. 1 unit for the main event to go over 4.5 rounds at minus 225. And 1 unit for the main event to go the distance at minus 200. Each of those pays. So over 3.5 is 1 unit out, 1.36 units in. Over 4.5 is 1 unit out, 1.44 units in. Go the distance is 1 unit out, 1.5 units in. And so in total, if Alexa Grasso wins a decision, it's 3.5 units out, 5.45 units in for a profit of 1.95 units. And now with those main event bets as well, remember, it doesn't matter who wins. It's just that the fight gets there. So whether it's Alexa Grasso or Viviane Araujo at the end of the day, no matter how they get there, we go over 3.5 rounds, we cash that ticket. We go over 4.5 rounds, we cash that ticket. We go the distance, we cash that ticket. I'm just hoping to add on the Alexa Grasso winning by decision at plus money onto that. I think that is a good accumulator of bets, a good chance to make a nice little profit. If we can pull 2.5 units out of there as a profit, I'll be really happy with that. Next one I have, Cub Swanson to finish at plus 400 for half a unit. So half a unit out, 2.5 units returned for a profit of 2 units if we cash. It's one of those bets to me that the odds are just too good. I do like Cub Swanson to potentially win this fight. He was my pick on the Punch Drunk predictions. And I think if he does, it's going to be by a finish of some kind. And so if you're giving me plus 400, that's just one of those ones that's a little too tasty for me to pass up. Jonathan Martinez could come out and look great. Cub Swanson could come out and show that the move to bantamweight at this stage of his life, at this stage of his career, is a poor decision. But if he's going to win this fight, I think he gets a finish. And at plus 400, I got to just get a little taste. Just a half unit taste. Next fight, light heavyweights, Misha Cirkunov and Alonzo Menifield. This is one I put a bunch into because I really like the Misha Cirkunov side of this. So here we go. We'll run through them real quick and then we'll get to the explainers. 1 unit for Misha Cirkunov, the money line just to win, plus 180. 1 unit for Misha Cirkunov by submission, or by finish, I should say, at plus 275. Half a unit to win in round 1 at plus 500. 1 unit for the fight to last under 1.5 rounds at minus 138. And then a hedge in there of 1.5 units on Alonzo Menifield to win in round 1 at plus 210. And so we'll get through this. I think Misha Cirkunov, my prediction is that Misha Cirkunov wins this fight. If you saw the stare down between them, he's the bigger man of the two. He is back up at light heavyweight. He was a top 10 light heavyweight at some point. As much as he is 3 years removed from his last victory, that last victory was out here in Vancouver, about 45 minutes away from me, against Jimmy Crute, who is a very good fighter, and in my opinion, a better fighter than Alonzo Menifield. And it was by Peruvian necktie. And now Jimmy Crute banged on Misha Cirkunov a little bit in that fight. And it was dicey, but Cirkunov pulled out the finish. And I think that's kind of similar to what we're going to see here. We haven't seen Alonzo Menifield beat anybody with Misha Cirkunov's level of experience or standing at this point of their career. And so the plus 180 on the money line just for Cirkunov to win would return 2.80 units for the 1 unit bet, which is a profit of 1.8 units. The submission at plus 275 would return 3.75 units. So again, plus 2.75 units, excuse me. The round 1 at plus 500, which just feels juicy, would return 3 units. So a profit of 2.5 units. And the under 1.5 rounds at minus 138 would return 1.72 units for 1 unit wagered and a profit of 0.72 units. And so if we get a Cirkunov submission in round 1, it's 2.5 units out, 9.55 units in for a profit of 7.05 units. The reason I do the Menifield hedge is just because Misha Cirkunov has lost 3 straight fights. And if Alonzo Menifield is going to win, it's going to be because he comes across the cage and swings hammers and connects and gets Misha Cirkunov out of there quickly. Similar probably to the Volkan Oldsdemir fight several years ago, where it's just a barrage and Cirkunov can't take the punishment and he drops and we're done and we're out of here. And so at 1.5 units and plus 210, if that happens to cash, it's 4.65 units for a profit of 3.15 units, which just about evens out. We're still down like 0.35 units in terms of all the Cirkunov side of things, but it sort of covers me for no matter the outcome, because I do think this is a fight that isn't going far. I don't actually think it gets out of the first round. And so if we get the Menifield side of it, coupled with the under 1.5, it's 2.5 units out, 6.37 units in for a profit of 3.87 units, which gives us a little bit of a profit overall for the fight, even with the Cirkunov side of things. So to me, it feels like a safe way to have a bunch of quality action and some big potential on the Cirkunov side of things, right? Plus 7 units is a huge win, but also covered off on the other side of it. Couple more before we get out of here. 0.5 units on Jacob Malkoun at plus 110 returns 1.05 units, a profit of 0.55 units. I just think he's a little bit better than Nick Maximov. I think he gets the victory. And so the plus money for a guy that I like to win the fight, we'll just put a little in there. And then 2 units on Tatsuro Taira to get the victory over CJ Vergara. He's minus 220. So it would return 2.91 units, a profit of 0.91 unit. I just think it's one of those fights. I think he wins this fight most times. Listen, I might be wrong. This is the biggest single bet that I've made thus far. I just think with everything we saw from him in his last fight, and couple that with what we saw from CJ Vergara in his fight against Clayton Rodriguez as well, This is a fight for the Japanese prospect to go out to get a victory, to remain undefeated. And so if we can pull back almost a full unit on a fight on a guy that's a heavy favorite, a minus 220 favorite, and it's not that crazy of a favorite, so we get almost that full unit back, I'm going to go in there as well. The last thing before we do get out of here, every week, every event, I will do the Punch Drunk Prediction Parlays. They are 2 bets. One is on the main card. One is for the full card. They are 0.25 unit bets, and they are done simply as flyer tickets. Simply as if I go 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 on the main card, or I have a night where I get everything right, I'm not walking away thinking, why didn't I make that bet? Why didn't I parlay these selections? So the main card parlay this week, as I said, is 0.25 units, would return 5.17 units for a profit of 4.92 units. There's a couple underdogs in there, Swanson and Misha Cirkunov. So it's a nice return. It's a tasty little return if that happens to go correctly. And you can get all of my picks for the whole main card and for the whole fight card at the Punch Drunk Predictions video that should be up on the YouTube page, is also up on the SevereMMA page right now. And then for the full card, again, 0.25 units, 11 fights, returns 56 units for a profit of 55.75 units. There's a bunch of underdogs in there. There's the main card guys. There's another 1 or 2 on the prelims. It's 11 fights. It's hard to do. But if we do it, we're crushing it. We're good for the year. We're way out in front. That ROI that I talked about at the start goes way over into the black. We get real nice. We feel real good heading towards these last few months. And so those are the picks. Those are the selections. Those are the bets that I've made. Let's hope we cash some tickets, folks. As I said off the top, please wager responsibly. Just have fun with this stuff. It's meant to be supplemental. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be a good time. Best of luck to you if you are out there wagering. Enjoy the fights on Saturday. Thank you for checking out the content. The boys will be back on Sunday with the next day takeaways, Harry Powell and Ian O'Neill. I will have a recap and some takeaways from the event on Saturday up on SevereMMA once the show is done. Then I will be back here Monday to do it all over again as we get ready for UFC 280. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of one another. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the fights. Best of luck with your selections, and we'll talk to you soon.